because she calls every week. Hi,
We
welcome to another episode of That's the Thing too. It is episode 101,
and one. Yeah.
and it is That's the Thing too Overture. Did I actually say Overture?
Yeah, you
I
did.
feel
It's
like
fine.
okay, whatever. Well, we're still doing that one. We didn't change,
No.
and it
Uh,
is
yeah.
Wednesday, February the 26th.
Yeah. I will know what's the deal with my finger.
Ooh.
My dad thinks that it's basically I just got to start moving it again because
Yeah, just
there's nothing wrong. It's just gonna
uh-huh.
it's like they've checked it. I took the it's not inflamed as it once was. It's still a little bit, but it's just like
Yeah.
no, you just gotta start wiggling it.
Yeah, now you just gotta get the stiffness worked out of it.
Yeah.
You're at that crossroads where if you could be one of those shitty people where it's like, nah, it's like it's stiff and I don't like moving it. And so now I haven't moved it in 20 years and I've made a problem out of it.
Well, that's
Or you can just wiggle it.
yeah, that's like the thing. I don't know if it's like do I need it's my eternal peril is like am I making this worse or better? Like I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is this like nah, you're doing the correct thing? Or is this going to be like nah, you're doing the wrong thing? What you needed to do was not move it. And it's like no, you needed to move it. Who knows?
God, I hate modern medicine.
No, I just need to chop it off and get a robot hand. Why can't we do that? I want
Have you
rope.
seen when robots try to draw hands, Kevin?
That's see, that's the problem. Like we're not doing our. They're trying to go all in on like here's our humanoid robot butler slave, and I'm like I don't want a butler slave robot. I want
Yeah,
robot
what?
hand. I want like a robot hand that's good.
Yeah.
Do you
I
know?
think I, I think we kind of have those. They're just I mean, they're still not to the level of like, dexterity to
No, it's like better
play
than
up.
it's better than being like amputated.
Yeah.
Like it's better than the
Like
hook. Like we
yeah, it's
but no, I want like chop it
I don't know.
off,
I like the
robot
hook.
arms, good to go. It doesn't even have to be like a super robot arm. It could be like a normal robot arm. Listen, I just want to be able to play as much video games as I want without having to take breaks. That's it. That's it.
This is how Kevin became Psycho Zaku, just to
Yeah,
play video games.
listen, yo. I mean, if you're gonna make me like a torso, but then I get to play as much video games as I want, I mean, there's something to it. There's
Yeah.
something to it when they're saying like, remember when you used to be good at like shooter games? I'm like, yeah, I did. That's when I was young. You're like, yeah, well, you can't have those reflexes. But what if we gave them? What if you could build them? It's like,
Yeah.
oh. But then you're gonna have like a torso child, and he's still gonna beat me. And then it's like, well, or like in Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, where they were just like a brain and
Or
eyeballs that they shoved inside of a robot,
yeah, that's how you do it. That's all you need.
a barrel and bar bobot.
I like in Ghost in the Shell when the sniper guy is having issues with his gun, and it's because his gun is also having issues with him.
Yeah,
It's like I have the shot lined up, and he keeps screwing up my aim.
there's a lot of bits in Ghost in the Shell I like. I think my favorite bit in that entire show was in Second Gig, where the sniper duel with the major, and he keeps playing it through his head, and he loses every time. Like literally, he's like he shoots it, and he's like, "All right, this is what's gonna happen." He shoot, and she like shoots the bullet, and then shoots him again, and he's just like, "No."
And like when it actually happens, it's even worse because she only shoots one bullet to shoot his bullet and him.
Yeah, she like deflects the shot and it takes him out, and it's just like, oh, I didn't even think of that one. It's even worse.
This is awful.
Terrible to be a robot person.
God, and someone else is a better robot person.
Oh Lord,
It's
Motoko
Gattaca
Kusanagi.
all over again.
Yeah, She's just like, yo, I'm just gonna put my body in a sexy lady. She's literally just Captain Murphy from that episode of Sea Lab. I want my double D cups of justice. And he's like, what?
I think my favorite part of Ghost in the Shell is in the manga when one of the instances of the self-aware programming
Mm.
achieves enlightenment and goes to heaven.
Hell yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Also, Ghost in the Shell has always given me the vernacular of saying, please don't Ghost in the Shell standalone complex me and resolve to like making me have a fake life. Like I'm still haunted by that
Oh
bit
no,
of
that's just regular Ghost in the Shell.
okay, yeah, that bit I get it confused. I think I'm forgiven for getting
But yeah, the
all
trash can man, the,
just
the
that scene in the interrogation where he goes, "This is my family," and they said, "You never had a family."
it's like this is the picture you were showing your coworker, and it's just a dog.
Like if that ever like that is my like that is in my skull. It's like if you Ghost in the Shell standalone complex or Ghost in the Shell me, then it's like then all bets are off. It's time to kill. I do
It's
not
like
want that to
reason enough.
happen.
It is reason enough for me to look at Tokugawa and Ghost in the Shell and be like, no, but he's the smart one. He's he is Mr. Revolver,
Yeah,
Mr. No brain implants except the
yeah.
walkie-talkie.
I'll
He
take the
is the smart one.
walkie-talkie because we have to have the walkie. Listen, walkie-talkie's pretty good,
Yeah.
but no, I do not want that happen. I don't want to be hacked. And I don't want to be hacked and then have like fake memories implanted. I think that's like a
Yeah.
nightmare.
Yeah.
I also like the bit where like the Tachikoma was reading the book normal style. And like,
And
why
all
don't
the
you
other
just
Tachikoma.
yeah, and it's just like, nah, I like it. I like reading it this way. Instead of just like scanning it. Like, yo, I just
Is,
downloaded it.
is that the one that it turned out like the natural oils were causing a breakdown and it's like
Yeah, because Bato kept
electronic
yeah,
membranes?
because Bato was like, no, I give it the good stuff.
It's like I give it a little treat.
I give it some of that old fashioned, some good old castor motor oil. It was good enough for my car. It's good enough for my robot tank, spider tank.
God, fucking Bato.
Yeah. Okay, that was just.
Oh, I need to rewatch Ghost in the Shell
No, there's a lot of stuff.
standalone complex.
There's a lot of stuff. There's too much stuff out there. There's just too much. Like,
I love like it's in the movie the like two American spies who show up who are like blatantly spies. If you know Japanese, they're even worse because their last names are basically like Smith or no, their names are basically Smith Johnson.
I'm
Like
Smith
they picked
Johnson and John Smithson.
no, they picked two surnames. Like they don't have a they didn't know
Good.
the language well enough to pick actual names.
And yet, and yet that kind of incompetence, I'm like, no, that's real.
Yep,
No, that's real.
100%.
That would be who we'd be sending over nowadays.
Uh-huh. 100%.
I can see it. Yeah, it's. I sadly, I'm taking a bit of a breather on my Gundam rewatch.
Yeah, you've ingested a lot. You
Well, that's
gotta have
also
a
because
palate
of
cleanser.
the great tragedy that the Gundam miniature game has been pushed back to 2026.
Oh.
It's been pushed back a year, which like makes sense. It because there's a lot of like the miniature is both highly volatile and the games that thing is being based on, I understand because I read the article and they kept talking. Basically, the games they talked about was Star Wars, Shatterpoint, Mech Warrior, and Warhammer,
Yeah.
which makes sense. Oh, you can talk to Kelsey. Tell her to heat up
No,
some.
she's here in person.
Oh, okay. Uh, depending on the depending depending on the leftovers, I vote leftovers.
It's quiche.
Ooh, ooh, a nice little quiche. I like quiche. Got
I
some
do too.
egg. Got some spinach.
I I ate my leftovers from Mexican for breakfast just to make a larger portion of quiche for her.
I mean, you got egg, spinach, and then throw something else in there. It's
I
good to
think
go.
this one's a quiche Lorraine, so it's actually like ham and cheddar.
Oh, that's just like a fancy omelet.
Yep, pretty much.
That's
I
pretty
mean,
good.
all quiches are kind of like fancy omelets.
Everything with egg is just a fancy omelet.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's either a fancy
It's
omelet or fancy scrambled eggs.
like, where does that line end? If I put an egg on a burger, does that turn into a fancy omelet?
Depends on how runny it is. So like so all eggs are either scrambled eggs, omelet, or sunny side up, or fried egg.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. Yep, those are your choices. And even then, scrambled and omelet are very close to each other.
Yeah, I would dare say scrambled is unfancy omelet.
Yeah.
Like you have the gradation of omelet. Like scrambled eggs is not fancy because you're just slurping them around.
One step down from scrambled egg is scrambled egg with ketchup on top.
Oh, I like scrambled eggs and ketchup.
I do too, but I think it has made it
Oh, it's
less
not
fancy.
fancy. Oh, it's that's the bargain basement.
Yeah.
Like I like ketchup on eggs, but once you put ketchup on something, you have like lowered it culinarily.
Just look at a steak.
I think ketchup on steak is bad. Because to me, like if you're gonna put sauce on steak, that's the whole point of steak sauce. And I like steak sauce. You get like a kind of a bad steak and you put some steak sauce on it. It's pretty good. Not bad at all.
Got that smokiness to it.
Yeah, it'll save it. It's kind of like how I feel mayonnaise can save stuff. Like if you have like a bad kind of a dry ham sandwich and you put a little mayonnaise on it, fixes it.
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean, it's not gonna perform miracles, but
no, it'll make it work. It'll do. It also works on like hamburgers. You put a little mayonnaise on the top. If you get that hamburger's a little too dry, it'll be fine. I am pro mayonnaise. I've always been pro mayonnaise. I just think mayonnaise gets
I like
disgusting.
mayonnaise.
I think it gets disgusting if you use too much of it, but it's like
Uh-huh.
you just gotta
Large quantities.
yeah you use it
I've
you
gotten I- I've gotten the big pal where they were a little too generous.
yeah that's not good. That ain't good. But like one of my old treats as a child was cheese and crackers with a little bit of mayonnaise on them. You get like
I've
some
never
salt.
done that.
You get saltines. You get your craft singles. You split it up into four. This is the kind of stuff that you'd get made as like when you were in we like around kindergarten, so to pre-kindergarten. You get like four saltines, a slice of cheese cut into four. You put a little bit of mayonnaise on it, and then you eat it. It's pretty good.
We would always have our grandma make us mayonnaise sandwiches, which were just white bread and mayonnaise.
Hey, that ain't bad. I mean, I'm saying this is like childhood eating. We're
Yeah,
not talking. We're
exactly.
not. We're not talking about.
And it would be we wanted her to also use the cookie cutter to cut it into a perfect circle.
Yeah,
Part of the ritual. And you waste so much bread and food.
yeah. But I I think I liked eating crust on my sandwiches because I always felt it was like extra. Like I liked eat. I always ate the crust on a pizza, even when it wasn't stuffed crust, because I felt like no, you gotta eat all the pizza. You gotta eat all your food. Like cutting.
Except unless the only time I don't eat crust is when you go to like CC's and I need maximum pizza.
Well, that's different. That's like yeah, that's like when you're in the buffet, and you have the kingly mandate that you can just eat whatever you want. You don't have to do that. You just be like, behold, I'm going to eat that. I'm gonna just eat the good pizza. And then I have to wait for them to put out the good pizza again. Even though like realistically, you could eat any pizza at CC's, but you wanted that barbecue pizza. I like a you like that novelty pizza because you get like a cheese pizza anywhere or a pepperoni pizza anywhere. Why would you get that? No, you get that weird pizza.
The
That
mac and cheese pizza,
yeah,
the
like
spinach Alfredo pizza.
yeah, the dessert pizza. The weirdest pizza I've ever had was a scratch. It was like from the Scratch Bakery, and they had like the Trust Pizza, where they just put whatever the hell on it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm a big fan of scratch. They would also, I think, if you bring ingredients in, they would put them on the pizza for you too.
Yeah. I liked the Trust Pizza. They put a bunch of weird stuff on it, but it would always be like a you got to be in the you're not in the mood for pizza when you're eating it. Now my pizza is like gluten free DiGiorno, and you put some like jalapenos on it,
Yeah.
maybe a pepperoni or two. And that's kind of it. Because
A
that's like
gluten-free lifestyle. It's
that's the
probably the better lifestyle.
it makes it harder to eat the slop. You can still do it. I found ways, but you can't eat as much. You can't you,
Yeah.
you can't go like yeah I can't because a lot of basically like the secret to fast food is that bread is easy and a lot of empty calories. So when you see like your quarter pounder with cheese, it's like 95% bread.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the Big Mac itself is like mostly bread with some like Big Mac sauce and onions on it. Like that's most of that thing.
Yeah, the patties on a Big Mac are
Very thin. Because
ridiculous.
I discovered when I was going to go like, yo, I'm gonna get like a Big Mac. I'll just take out all the bread, and it's not
Mhm.
that much.
Okay, then, yeah.
It ain't good.
Um, but yeah, it's like, oh my God, their patties are like the size of a silver dollar pancake.
Yeah, that's pushing it. That's if you get them on like a good day. Sometimes it's just like, what is this? It's like a crystal. It's like a crystal or a White Castle snuck in
Oh
there.
man, talking about mostly bread.
Oh, that's just grease. It's bread and grease.
It's grease-soaked bread,
Yeah.
delicious,
Yeah.
and onions.
Yep. Too many onions.
I disagree.
Well, they've upped their onion count to deal with inflation.
Um,
So when my dad and me when we get crystals and we get them every so often, we just get like the corn dogs.
yeah, yeah. Or
Because
the chicks. Do you ever get the
nah,
junior chicks?
because if we're gonna get chicken, we just get like actual chicken. Like I think their corn
Yeah.
dogs are good because they fry them in the grease, so they taste good. But I only eat like
Yeah, I
two
can
of
do
them.
that.
But it's one of those things where it's like, nah, if I'm gonna get chicken, I'm gonna go just like Bojangles.
Yeah, I was gonna say I forget you have access to Bojangles
Yeah,
whenever
it's
you
it's
want.
like really close. We just get that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So what's happened is that due to like my dad and me's our appetites, that the Bojangles they brought back the chicken rice bowl, and that thing is enough for like me and my dad to split for dinner. So it's very economical. It's like $8, but we split it in two. And it's like yeah, it's pretty good.
That is, yeah, that's suddenly the price that food should be.
Oh, it should be. We're not. You're not getting like the $10 for like the chicken quesadilla meal, and you're feeling like what has happened?
You get rid of the salsa for their Mexican food?
I ate it.
All of it?
There wasn't that much.
Oh no, the salsa's gone. The question is for both Drew and comments. Please comment. Do you like spicy salsa or more mild salsa? Think about it. How spicy do you like it?
The flavor is the first and foremost important part to me. Like if it's just like bland salsa, but then it's spicy, there's no reason.
I agree. It has to taste good on a chip. That's
Mm-hmm.
my thing. If you dip it on a chip and you're just like eh. Also, I don't like it to be too tomatoey. Like if you didn't dice the tomatoes enough, where it's like I'm just eating a tomato on a chip. Well, that's not the worst thing in the world. I'm not thrilled about it. Anyway, have you been up to anything?
I've just been reading Lord of the Rings and rewatching Hunter x Hunter.
Ah, how do you feel about rereading Lord of the Rings?
Well, I guess it is rereading. I've read The Hobbit and The Fellowship when I was younger, but
Yeah,
that's it.
I I've
Um,
I've read Lord of the Rings and I was read The Hobbit too, but I've watched obviously I've watched the films.
yeah.
Have not
Um,
watched The Hobbits. I haven't watched
Yeah, I
those.
don't think you need to.
No thanks.
There's
but it's definitely easier reading this now than it was in like fifth or sixth grade when I read them.
Yeah, I read them in like a little after. I read them in like when I was in, but I think either before or after or during when I was reading like Dragonlance novels
Hmm.
because I was on like the fantasy tear. I was like consume it all. That was after the Star Wars tear when I read like the Thrawn trilogy. It was around like
And the Knights of the Young Jedi Knights.
yeah, I read a lot of Young Jedi Knights. I read the Jedi Academy. Read all that. Read all the Kevin J. Anderson classics.
My brain went to S.E. Perry when you said that.
Well, S.D. Perry did like the Resident Evil and Alien stuff.
Yeah,
That's where S.D. Perry lives. So that's where she lives. Then
yeah.
you had Kevin J. Anderson, and then you had
games and truck.
God, who was it? Who is it? I always get them confused. It's the Thrawn Timothy Zahn. That's right. That's like the two Star Wars guys in the '90s.
I think I only read like some of the Young Jedi Knights, and that's literally the extent of the. Oh no, I read Death Star, but that wasn't a '90s Star
Yeah,
Wars book. But that's all the Star Wars I've read.
yeah. It's like Star Wars. Star Wars is a thing, and I'll leave it at that, or maybe I'll go more into it because due to like the Gundam game like going out, I've been looking at like okay, so what other like miniature war games are there out there? And the ones I've just like there's the BattleTech Mech Warrior one, which I've been thinking about because I like BattleTech. There is the Star Wars one where it's like the Shatterpoint one. That's the low point cost one.
Yeah,
And I was looking at it. I'm like, ooh, but like the starter set, it does have like the Clone Wars cartoon crew, and that's like you got Ventress, Darth Maul, Anakin, and Ahsoka with some clone troopers, and my brain's like, oh, I like those. Which is, I think that's like my feeling on Star Wars. It's like half of it is, I'm like, I don't like Star Wars, but I do, if that makes sense.
it does, but it's also the parts of it you like are the parts of it I don't like.
Oh, that's interesting. No, that's interesting.
Like I do not care about Anakin, Ventress, and all of that.
Oh, you don't like the Clone Wars crew?
Not especially,
Okay,
no. I
no, that's
like
fine.
young Obi-Wan, but that's pretty much it.
No, that's interesting.
And so I kind of like Anakin through the lens of his relationship with Obi-Wan, but
There's a
yeah, for the most part.
so basically you would watch the Clone Wars cartoon, but watch like 4 episodes of it. You'd watch.
No, I will watch the Jindy's
Oh, that
Clone
one's
Wars.
good. Oh, that was just straight
That's
up
all I'll
good.
watch, really. I don't like I watch some of the CG one, but I just don't care about it.
The CG one, like that one, and I think Rebels is also kind of the same way. Where like there's a lead up to it, Like they get their
Yeah.
footing a couple episodes in, and then you're like, okay, now I see what you're doing here. And even this, still, there's going to be some duds. Just to how a TV show is made, where like this writing crew got this episode, and now it's garbage.
Yep.
And
The
then
next writing crew showed up who did not understand.
no, and then you got like the incredible episode where like Anakin has to go on a special mission and leaves his clone troopers to be dealt with by like another Jedi who keeps throwing them into the meat grinder for literally little to no reason, and they hate
Oh, it's
it.
the episode of Invader Zim.
Yeah, but it and what causes them is that they start to do their Order 66 stuff early, and they hunt him down and kill him, and it's incredible. There's also an episode where like one guy's Order 66 program legit activates early, and one of the clone trooper, believe Fives, has to like investigate what this is, and he learns about it. And there's a moment where like Palpatine is like, he walks into the room and then tells him the plan, just tells it to him because no one's gonna believe him because they think he's like defective. He goes, "This is what I'm doing," and he just tells it to him. And like his evil machinations, he's just like, I am both the Emperor and the Thing. I'm gonna make you all fight, and whoever wins, I win. And there's nothing you can do about it. And the guy's like running and trying to tell people, but they think he's gone nuts. And then they kill him.
Clone Trooper?
Yeah, clone trooper.
Okay.
It's wild.
Also the episode where Obi-Wan is put into the moral quandary of like, do you kill the woman you love or not? And then Anakin just murders the guy.
Well, it's the woman is dedicated to pacifism, but Obi-Wan as the Jedi, he doesn't know what to do. Yeah, and Anakin just kills him. It's like problem solved. There's a bit, just talking about bits I like from the Clone Wars cartoon, where like one of the Jedi, like she also like figures out the deal and is like tried for treason. In her like last speech or whatever, she basically says the Republic is corrupt. You're all fools. You deserve what you get. And you're like, oh, that's incredible.
Story about Jonah and the great fish.
But all that is to say,
That's
is
pretty
like,
good.
I like some bits of Star Wars. I like some bits of it. I just
I
don't
think
like.
my problem with most nerd stuff is I feel like it used to be where people aspired. Like people did, that's not where they wanted to end up.
No.
And so it's like, okay, I have to write this really well so I can get it to where I want to go.
Yeah.
And now people are like, oh man, I'm writing Star Wars. I've always wanted to do this. I've achieved my goals.
I also
And
think
now
that
they're on their laurels.
that like Disney has completely mismanaged Star Wars, and not in
Oh
terms
yeah,
of like.
all of their properties.
Well, yeah, I would say so. It's the idea. It's that Hideo Kojima tweet when he's talking about the new Captain America movie, and he couldn't understand what's going on because he didn't watch like the Captain America Winter Soldier or Disney Plus show. So it's like you don't know what's happening in the thing because you didn't watch every single like TV show.
The joke is now real.
Yeah. The joke is like we've gone into literally full comic books where you're trying to follow your favorite guy and you don't know what's happening because you didn't read like the sensational Thor number 28. That was apparently part of the story. You didn't know this. You would have if you were reading all of it.
I would never. I don't know how I feel about this thought, but I feel like they need to start doing Naruto editing, where there's just a flashback every 5 seconds to a different series or movie.
If you're gonna do it, then maybe just do it. Just do it, or just say, listen, here's the spider. I just don't think. I don't like it when you try to do the transmedia narrative. And not in terms of like transgender people, but just in terms of like
Multimedia. Approach.
You're trying to say to get the full story, you need to read the book, watch the show, play the game, and watch the movie. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I think that's trash.
Yeah.
I think that's complete
Uh-huh.
garbage. It makes every story incomprehensible.
It's way better when you let those other things still inform it, but you're not dependent on it. So someone who's like played the Matrix Online knows Morpheus is dead, and then they're like, "Oh, he's still dead."
Oh. Or just they just say that in like a line. So you could
Yeah.
watch if you watched the movies, you're good. If you like I would say the multimedia narrative thing only works if you're doing like Easter eggs and like, oh, they said like thanks to the rebels we got our plan, and if you watch the movie where they got it, you know what happened. But for this movie to function, they just did it, and it's
Uh
fine.
huh.
It's fine. It
Yep.
doesn't matter.
They don't need to have a big moment of meeting the main character from that other movie, who then you're like, "Wait, am I supposed to know who this is? Because I don't."
That's and it's like I think that happens a lot where like the triumphant horns swell in as Guy walks in. It's like looking for this, and you're like, who are you? I don't know who this is. This is not like a triumphant stinger. But yeah, I also think Star Wars. There's just stuff I like. They planned a trilogy and then they had different people direct each one, which is, while kind of cool and avant-garde, it also means that there's no consistency between like the films.
Well, I would also say it's not avant-garde because it wasn't planned. It
Okay.
was all reactionary.
Yeah, like it was you basically you looked at the focus group and said, "What do you like, focus group?"
And the folks were, we didn't like the new Star Wars. It was just the same old Star Wars. But you asked for the same old Star Wars. But it wasn't the same old Star Wars. But you just okay. Well, we'll get.
Okay, we'll get Rian Johnson. He'll show up and he'll make something that's not at all like the old Star Wars. And then they kill up. We hate this. It's not like the old Star
Okay,
Wars.
okay. You know what? Focus group is right though on that one. That movie sucked. That movie was way worse than The Force Awakens.
I think I will go down. I like conceptually what they did with Luke Skywalker, Rey, and Kylo Ren. I think that's interesting. The rest of
Uh
that
huh.
movie is
I
slop.
can. Yeah, like the movie itself just sucks
Oh, the movie itself is
ass.
slop, and I don't like it. There's bits of that movie I'm like, that's an interesting idea. Which
Like
puts
the whole casino planet is just so stupid. And that's awful. When you say Casino Planet, that should be one of the sickest things to happen in Star Wars.
yeah, they can't nail it. They can't give us just Casino Night Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah.
Sonic 3, however,
Like
delivered. That movie's great.
why would you pick like the lamest, boringest people? Like why would you pick Finn and Ray to go to the Casino Planet? Is that even who they
No,
Why
it's
would you
Finn
not
and
pick
Rose.
whatever? Why would you pick them? Why would you not pick suave pilot guy? That's who goes to Casino Planet.
Yeah, Poe Dameron was misused in that entire thing. And I know he's misused because I know his name, and they feel like, what are you doing with this character?
Like oh,
I
I just
understand that like the reactionary sphere hates it because like the admiral was like a woman, but I
yeah.
also hated it that she didn't tell him her plan, not because she was a woman, because that's stupid.
Hmm.
Just going, no, I just got this plan. It's like, well, what are you doing? I can't tell you, but to trust me, it's great. It's a super smart plan. I just can't tell you what I'm doing ever, but it's super smart. Trust me.
It's
That
4D chess.
that would be bad if she was a dude. If she was a dude, I'd have the exact same problem of like, that's dumb.
When did they warp speed jump into a moon?
That no,
When
that
did
was in that movie where they light speed torpedoed into like the Star Destroyer.
That's one of those where it's like you're setting a bad precedent for like okay, why was the Death Star such a problem if you could have just done this to it?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. So if you're saying that there was like if you could just hyperdrive jump into whatever, in fact that is I believe that was the whole impetus behind the Empire's galaxy gun weapon, where they would just shoot a missile, it would go into hyperspace and then hit whatever, and they would
Right?
just shoot it from
Because
like
I
a
mean, like,
planet.
it's like, okay, this is a droid manned ship. Literally, all it has is hyperdrive capabilities. The math is good enough for these things that we've done the math. We know where the Death Star is, and it's just gonna jump to light speed and hit it.
Yeah, it's just
And
gonna
my
slam into it.
expectations, yeah, and there's nothing they can do.
Well,
It's going light speed. What can they do?
Well, there is a thing in Star Wars where they have like mass generators or whatever that can pull stuff out of light speed. So there is like a type of Star Destroyer that's built to do that. And you could grognard argue that like, but that's like a dedicated thing. That's like your Minovsky particle. Like you got to have a ship that says no light speed torpedo attack. Which means you got to defend. But that would be interesting. That would mean if you had this technology at whatever.
We're going too far.
We're going too far. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is a children's movie, but I enjoyed it. Like everything with Jim Carrey and the humans, I'm like, oh, this is children's movie, and then the rest of it is like, oh, that's Sonic Adventure 2. It's interesting.
which is also a children's video game.
Yeah, it's a
So it's like,
children's. Yeah.
Why did they feel the need to add more children's content?
I think it's because you had Jim Carrey and you wanted him to do Jim Carrey goofball antics, because
That's the problem.
because
It's
and
always
I'm
Jim
like,
Carrey.
yeah, it's like it's really weird, and I read like articles and stuff that got me thinking, where it's like that has become the tone of the live action Sonic films, for better or worse, that there is going to be this like children's movie quippiness, and while I don't like it, I understand it's hard. I feel like Sonic gets away with it more than like Mario would be, just because of what Sonic has
Oh, I
been.
disagree. I feel like Sonic should be trying harder to be like the moody, angsty teen tween audience.
Yeah.
Mario, I think, gets away with, oh, I'm a kid. Like the old Nintendo Power comic or whatever
Yeah.
of Mario is very like
It's goofy.
for kids.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog
Or
ideally
or
should be like what my 3rd to 4th grade self thought was the coolest thing ever, which is Sonic the Hedgehog. Like that's what it should be hitting. And like
really move.
like Jim Carrey shenanigans is not the coolest thing of all time.
Yeah.
But like he's really fast, has an attitude.
What else do you need for Sonic the Hedgehog?
That's kind of it. You need a couple quips. You need some fast. I like what they did with Shadow.
Keanu Reeves?
He nails it. He gives the proper level of sadness that Shadow the Hedgehog needs to properly convey kind of what he is. It's that John Wick era, like, I'm tired and sad. And that's like the entire movie. Shadow is just like, I'm very tired and I'm very sad. I want to die. And I like it.
Everything that I love is gone.
Yeah. Because like the whole spoilers for Saw, but like old Dr. Robotnik or Gerald Robotnik is like, Shadow, we're gonna kill everyone and then ourselves. Like that's the plot of the film, and Shadow and him are both like, yeah, sounds good. Until Sonic
And then Maria happens.
until Sonic has a heart-to-heart with him, where he talks about how, like, you know, maybe you should do what Maria wanted instead of killing everyone, which is what you want to do. And he goes, you're right, Sonic the Hedgehog. Maybe I should be a good guy instead of a bad guy.
Maybe you really can move my heart.
Yeah. And then they play Live and Learn like 4 times.
You know what? Good.
It's great. The movie starts with like Maria playing the acoustic guitar version of Live and Learn.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's
Shut up.
yeah, like that's like the first thing in the film is her hanging out with Shadow, and she's like playing the first like do 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 like a little bit of it, and you're like, oh, I know what's going on here.
Do they also play Escape from the City?
No, but when Sonic is being teleport, like he's riding the helicopter to go fight Shadow for the first time, he gives the exact same line of like, "This flight didn't have an in-flight movie. I'm out of here." Like he does like the same line from Sonic Adventure 2, and I'm like, yeah, it's great.
Do we get the Knuckles rap?
Sadly, no. Sadly, no. We don't get Here I Am rougher than the rest of them. I think it's because that guy has like real life problems. It's
Mm.
like that's one of those like uh-ohs. We want to erase that
Mm.
from the timeline.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But it was like I
And then what?
enjoyed it, but I feel like I enjoyed it because I like Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic Adventure 2. It's also one of those things where like if there's nothing here if you
Okay,
do
I'm gonna stop you because no one really enjoys Sonic Adventure 2. Most of that game is Tails and Eggman levels.
and overly long Knuckles treasure hunt
Mm-hmm.
levels.
Mm-hmm.
But I played a lot of Sonic Adventure 2. I like Sonic Adventure. So okay, the thing is, so spoiler for the stinger of Sonic. At the end, like Metal Sonics are showing up, and Amy shows up and kills the Metal Sonics, which means that like clearly Sonic the Hedgehog 4 will be Sonic CD. You have
Mm-hmm.
Amy, Metal Sonic, and probably like your Terminator esque time travel story. Like that's what they're showing. Is that they turning Amy into John Connor, who came back to save the future. Like that's what they're doing.
Isn't that Silver?
Yes, but you gotta wait for that one. So
Oh,
like
good, because I hate Silver.
yeah, I that's like Silver and Blaze. I believe like
Silver is like to me where they officially jumped the shark on the Sonic series.
so I'm not sure about it because I haven't seen the Knuckles show, but I think in the Knuckles show they say that Knuckles' power is the thing from Sonic '06. They're trying to like bring that in.
They see, okay, I think that's smart. That's how you use a show where you're like, this is a questionable move. Let's do it in the thing no one's gonna
Yeah, I
watch.
think that
If we
there's
think we're
like
successful,
yeah, they're like
we can either.
Knuckles in the Sonic movie might be the Iblis trigger instead of Sonic or Princess Elise or whatever, which kind of works. Like that makes more sense of why like
It's also like feel like doing it with the TV show first. You
yeah.
can then iron it out in the movies.
Or you could just never do it. Just let it go.
Yep.
Yeah, so my theory is that
What
like
are you talking about?
we're going Sonic CD and then they're either gonna have Silver. They're like the next three movies are gonna be Sonic CD, Sonic Adventure 1, and '06. It just depends
Mm-hmm.
on what the order of the other two is gonna be. Is your event because your Sonic Adventure is going to be your quote unquote your Avengers End game of the Sonic the Hedgehog. That's where everyone's going to show up.
Yeah.
Like, and while I do respect trying to like salvage Sonic '06, I think that's a bold idea. I think you might not want to do that. I would maybe go Sonic Heroes.
Sonic Heroes. I like Sonic Heroes.
I think Sonic Heroes is also underrated. You also that gives you time to do your Shadow the Hedgehog, because your separate or your other film. You want to get instead of your Team Dark, you get to have your Shadow the Hedgehog movie where he finds Team Dark, gets with Omega, and that's where you introduce Rouge.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, I
they
think
all team up to
yep.
fight Chaos.
Kaus. Dr. Kaus.
And then you can do a fun thing because if Jim Carrey isn't there, you can say Jim Carrey was Robotnik, and then you have a new actor who's Eggman. Think about it. Think about it. Get rid of him.
Do you think they're gonna put Robotnik niece into these movies?
Oh, Eggette.
Yeah.
They could. I'd be fine with that, honestly.
I think that'd be very funny to
Oh,
be
if
like,
they had
it's
like a
canon now.
yeah, if they had like a good actress who could do it, you just need like a good actress who could do it, or or you get the guy who was Kingpin from Daredevil and make him Doctor Eggman, but play him as
Oh
like
yeah,
but he's play
Vincent D'Onofrio.
yeah, but he's not doing silly at all. He's just very serious.
You embarrassed me.
You embarrass me in front of her. In front of her,
That
scratch and
scene by
Grounder. He's just slamming
No, I
Grounder's
was gonna
head
say-
to the door.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's just that same scene, but he's dressed as Dr. Robotnik and
Yeah.
he's slamming Grounder's face in the door.
Oh
And
no!
Scratch is just watching on.
Oh no! They could do that because they're robots. You know, they could actually do
Yeah.
that, and I would clap. I would say, well done. That's what you do with your
Oh.
henchmen if they're robots. You can just break them. It's fine.
Yeah.
Have your prestige
It's
TV
Scratch and
show.
Grounder. Who cares?
Yeah, your prestige TV show of E10 Gamma. Everyone goes, the masterpiece.
Huh.
The greatest story in all of Sonic told. The robot that's trying to kill his friends to save them. Gaining a sense of self. That'd be great. I'm saying, there's a lot you can do with Sonic. A lot you can do there.
Most of it has not been good.
Yeah. There's more bad Sonic than good.
Mm,
In that regard, Sonic and Star Wars are kind of the same thing if you think about it. Where there's some
yeah.
there's some high points, but there's more low points.
Oh, and it's not close.
But those high points are like really high though.
I don't think they are for Sonic.
Oh, I was thinking more about Star Wars.
Oh, Star Wars, yeah. New
No,
Hope
like
and
those,
Empire
I
Strikes
know
Back
those high
are-
points are like really, really good.
Yeah. Empire and New Hope are fantastic.
I think
Are
Return of the
absolute
Jedi's
bangers.
okay.
Yeah. It's just like the weakest of the three.
I don't want. I'm going to sound like a prequel apologist, but I still think the prequels are interesting. They're not good. Like as films, I don't think they're good, but they're interesting. There's stuff
Does
there.
that hold up if you remove your nostalgia of getting to skip school to go see them?
Yes, because I think the idea of like the gradual decline of a republic into a fascist dictatorship is very interesting. It's very interesting. And you're like, oh, that's what you were doing. Your demagogue is getting a populist movement and is gradually taking control of government. I see what you're spitting, George Lucas.
It's just the downside of like I agree 100% with Red Letter Media that these are also supposed to be like children accessible films.
Oh yeah, no, like it's they are failures of films. I'm not. I want to be clear. This is like as a film, I don't want to watch them again. But like to talk about, there's some interesting meat to like nibble and talk about. Where I feel like the sequels, there's no meat to nibble and talk about. It's only like, oh, that was bad. Like they're like you have simplistic and good, which is like the originals, and then you have overly complex bad, but there's like interesting stuff going on there. And then you have the sequel trilogy, which is the worst of both worlds, where it's like it's just slop, but
simplistic and bad.
yeah, it's like there's nothing to talk about there other than like production. Like I don't care. It's just all kind of bad. When you're saying like, how did he make all the Star Destroyers? And you're saying, did you watch the Fortnite event? And everyone's like, that's dumb. It's dumb. Apparently, also Kathleen Kennedy, director of Star Wars, has retired today, or whatever.
Oh.
Well, I guess.
What do you mean, director of Star Wars?
She was like the one in charge of like what they were doing with it. So she was the one who was like green lighting the stuff.
By director you mean product manager.
Yeah, that one. CEO of Star
Okay.
Wars.
Okay. Yeah. Mm. I mean, they're just gonna replace her with someone who's the exact same.
Honestly, just give it to Dave Filoni. He can do it.
I don't even know who that is.
That's guy who did directed Star Wars. He did Mandalorian, Star Wars, Clone Wars, CG, Rebels.
Okay, so like the to put it in the most nerd way possible, it's like how Garp will never be promoted to admiral
I
because
understand.
at that point he's directly under the world nobles. Like it doesn't matter how good they are at that. As soon as you're chief officer of Star Wars, it's really just okay. Now here's what the board is telling you to do with Star Wars,
Yeah,
and guess what? It's all focus groups.
yeah. There's a thing I can't remember because it was on as I watched so many YouTube videos, either about lore of nerd garbage or like actual philosophy and stuff, where they intermingle. But there's like a concept of like of being hired into failure or like promoted into failure, where when you endlessly promote people for like exceptional work, you're taking them out of the thing they were doing where they were exceptional.
Yep.
So like, yo, person there was really, really good at like directing a TV show, which means I'm gonna put him in charge of everything. But they don't have those skills, so it's not gonna work. You need to
Yeah, they weren't a manager. They
no,
weren't incredible at managing. They were incredible
yeah, at doing the
at
job.
creating.
And
Uh-huh.
and so when you so basically in your system, when you promote strictly due on merit, you're promoting people into jobs they are by design not good at, because the job they
Yeah.
were good at are really, really good at now that's vacant, which means it's even worse.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a fundamental systemic issue, and I don't know how to solve that sucker. I can't figure that out.
It's you put systems in place to train people into how to be an effective leader.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, it's like now you better know how to teach and share the skills you have that made you good at this, and like how to turn that into a workflow on a wider division.
We
But you
all
know that it takes investing in a team, which the people at the top don't want to do because
or
that takes away
yeah,
the
that
money
takes
that
money.
they get paid out.
It's also the idea of like it's one of the things to think about. Oh god. Uh-oh. 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 Oh crap. Okay.
What's happening?
Don't switch device. Don't switch device. I didn't wiggle my mouse enough so like the monitor turned off.
Oh God, that's so. I know it's just one more thing to juggle, but you very much could just tell it not to fall asleep.
Well, it's I would think that because it's piping, usually if it's piping audio and doing things, it does not
Mm-hmm.
do that. Like
Yep.
I've never had it go to sleep when I'm like watching a video or something, and that's fine. But it's just like when I'm recording, it's for some reason it's like no, there's no audio coming through, which means I'm gonna go to sleep,
Yeah.
take a nap. But what I was saying is it's like the conundrum of no one likes the middle manager boss, but a really good manager boss is like really convenient to have.
But yeah, they just most of them are not that.
Most of them are bad. Most people's experience
Yep.
with that are bad. But like a good one though could solve problems really
Mhm.
quickly.
Yeah, a good manager is an incredible thing,
Yeah.
but most managers are loyal to the people above them and not the people below them.
Yeah, that's your problem. That's your issue. In summation, I have to start going to like physical the game store people and say what games they're playing. I need to find that out because I'm
Kind of
getting
sucks.
old. I'm getting old. That's one of the things where like I'm starting to feel like oh god, I'm getting close to 40.
Have you thought about first edition D&D? That turns into a war game at the end.
Yeah. I've also thought
And
about Well, I need no. It's like some kind of tabletop game. I need to do it. I need to do it. I need to get into person and talk to people. Cause this thumb injury has told me that I can't compete in like video games no more. Although one of the things I have been liking is in like the MechWarrior games because they're old boomer games for boomers that you're basically driving a tank and there's like zero skill based like twitch based things there. You gotta like set your throttle and then you gotta aim with your mouse and you due to your robot it's not like twitch, your robot moves slow. You just hit the laser button. It's pretty good. But
Yeah, well, there you go. Have you thought about playing Kriegspiel?
yeah, exactly. I'm playing some like War Thunder or some like World War II reenactment game.
No, this is the 1800s, Kevin.
Oh,
We're
finally.
not nothing so fancy as World War II.
Good, because I don't want to play as the Nazi faction. I don't like it.
Yeah,
I've never liked it.
it's
Even in like Wolfenstein multiplayer, I'm like, I don't want to be the Nazi guys.
yeah. I don't want to play as the
I
Nazis,
do not want to be the Nazi guys.
which is it's saying something because you always pick the evil team when you can.
But that's like that's like theoretical evil. That's not like
Yeah, not
actual
real evil.
Like, okay, so like if I'm going on like team chaos or evil or whatever, I'm like, yeah, but they're not real. Chaos isn't real. But then if you're like if someone's going up there and they're like, yo, I really like the Sturmwaffle or whatever, I'm like, ugh. Like those people are
Oh,
real.
we got a problem.
Those people are real. And they're in our government. That's not good.
Yep.
That ain't good. I don't want to do that. Listen, if you see someone walking around with like a Chaos Marine t-shirt, they're probably okay. But if someone's walking around with like real fascism t-shirt, they ain't okay. That bad.
No, that's a problem.
If you have a guy who's like, I really like to play as the Third Reich faction, and you're like, oh, ew, gross.
We can't be friends. Leave me
No.
alone.
No, go away. Go away.
And maybe deck him too.
But like, if you like Xeon, that's okay. Listen, Xeon, there's some good guys in there. Yo, I love Shar Aznabal. He's a dick. He's great. He hates the
He's
zombie
also
thing.
not on Xeon the whole time.
Yeah. He's just kind of a dick. It's
Yep.
it's very good. I like Rambo Rao. He's a great guy. That's the whole point of that arc is that Rambo Rao is like a great guy. He's just fighting for the bad guy team. Deal with it, Amuro. But yeah. That's where I'm at. Oh yeah, Homestuck Part 2 was terrible. Garbage. I already talked
You
about
read
that.
more of it?
I tried to look back at it. I'm like, is it still doing the garbage? And it's still garbage. Can't on just dialogue, walls of text. And I said nope. And I pieced out. It was like I looked into it to make sure that I was correct and bailing, and I was indeed correct.
They just don't understand the importance of an editor. Of you can't just write everything. You have to clean it up. You can't do a first pass and say, okay, we're good.
I also don't think they understand the proper appeal of Homestuck. So I was thinking about this because I was listening to the Shelved by Genre podcast where they were talking about the Hallmark Channel movie or whatever, like the time travel Christmas episode, like where a woman has to go on a time travel train to save Christmas.
Yeah, I think there are a few time
Yeah,
travel
they
hallmarks,
do.
but yeah.
Yeah, they do that between every like actual series as like the palate cleanser. But like them talking about that movie and like the mechanics of it, like that's Homestuck. Where you're talking about this stupid Hallmark time travel romance movie, and it turns out that internet conversation is like the most important thing in how it actually works. So when you're confronted with the time travel, it's like, oh, this works in the same way as the Hallmark original movie, whatever. Like that's the appeal of Homestuck. It's not like troll romance or whatever. It's a bunch of stupid conversations happening with your internet pals, and then eventually it turning out that those mattered. That's what it is. That's Homestuck. Also, like time stupid video. It's there's a lot. I still you could go. There's a lot you could say about Homestuck.
God, it is so hard to reselect this get the little options to
Yeah.
unmute.
Oh, it
back.
doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't
Um,
like it.
Yeah, and then you have like the trolls show up, and it's like, oh, they're just stupid jerks. But then it's like, oh no, it turns out the stupid jerks are also correct, and you have to pay attention to them.
Yeah. But it's I think it's also in the way of like, but then there's enough where like you gathered what these characters were, and eventually I think the trolls were actually, I think there are too many trolls. I think there should
Yeah.
I think you could have cut them down by, there should have ideally been 4.
I feel like I think he could have done 6
6 could have worked.
just because that's their number.
Yeah.
But I think, and then just start off, they're already like 6 of them are dead.
Yeah. I think that would have worked. I think because even with the
But
trolls,
Hussey was too correct in his. Oh, I'm just gonna introduce an overload of romance garbage that people can ship and make their own fan cannons for to force popularity on a thing. And it's like, oh damn it, he knew what the internet was. He foresaw it.
I think Andrew Hussey and Robert Moran are people I think are both simultaneously geniuses and tragic geniuses, for they looked too far in.
Yeah.
Like they went too deep. They went too deep, but I still think they're like, I'm like, oh, that's smart.
They said that I could do this. They did not ask, should I do this?
Yeah. Are they bit off more than they could chew, but they only did that because of their previous success.
They Jurassic Parked it.
Yeah, there's a bit of Richard Hammond in there. Not Richard Hammond. Is that Richard Hammond? I know that's like who?
I think it's John.
John Hammond?
I think you can, yeah.
Am I just thinking about Top Gear again?
Yeah, you're just thinking about Top Gear.
Yeah, it is John Hammond. I was thinking about Richard Hammond again. I was thinking about him driving a truck.
The man who gets his blue jeans dry cleaned.
Yeah, his teeth whitener.
All right.
Oh,
But
all right.
thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for listening. Bye. Have a good.
Yep. Later days.